Hello and welcome to another episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host, Eric Smith. Excuse me. As I'm recording this, it is 3 a.m. on November 12th. And a couple of days ago, on November 10th, horror author JF Gonzalez passed away. So I decided I was going to do a tribute review. These are some books I'd been planning on reviewing eventually anyway, but I thought I'd do it now as a tribute to JF Gonzalez. Maybe generate some sales so the money can go to his family. So, excuse me, I'm going to be talking about the Clickers series. But first, just want to talk a little bit about JF Gonzalez. I didn't know him, but everything I've heard says he was a really great guy. And it's sad that he's passed away. He was relatively young. Wonderful horror author. Kind of looking over there at my bookshelf. He was one of Leisure's horror authors before Leisure went under, and they published one of his, I think one of his most popular books, Survivor, which is real hardcore horror. I have a friend who is the hardest of hardcore horror fans, and she said she had to put it down and walk away from it because it was just so hardcore. And I'm not even sure she ever finished it. And that's a fantastic book. He has a novel called The Corporation, which has one of my favorite scenes in any book ever. It's sort of hilarious and horrific at the same time. I suppose hilarious if you have a twisted sense of humor like I do. Excuse me. Such a couple of his other books. He's co-written with some fantastic authors, Rath James White, Brian Keene, and you'll see they wrote some of the Clickers books together. So anyway, he's just a well-respected, well-liked horror author who has written a lot of great stuff. My understanding is had a lot of great stuff that he was working on. Excuse me. But my favorite, personally, is the Clickers series. It's giant killer crabs. And anyone who knows me knows I love killer animal books. And this might be the first JF Gonzalez I read. I'd have to check, but I know I read this pretty early on. Now, there's 4 books in the Clickers series right now. And I believe they're all available through Deadite Press, a publisher that I've spoken about before. But as you'll see, each one of my copies is different. And they're from 3 different publishers. The first, of course, Clickers. JF Gonzalez and Mark Williams. And it's giant crabs killing people. It's about an author, Rick Sychek, who goes to a small New England town to work on his next novel. And while he's there, this wave of giant crabs comes out of the ocean and attacks. They're huge, and they have segmented tails, described kind of like a scorpion's tail. So they're unlike anything anyone's really ever seen before. And this there's a wave of these giant crabs invade this town. And that's not even the worst part, because something is driving the clickers out of the ocean and onto the land. Something even worse than clickers. And I think some people will know what I mean if I say there's a little Lovecraftian bent to what's coming. But this is great creature feature horror. Small town under attack by giant monsters. Not Godzilla size or King Kong size or anything, but I mean they're giant crabs. Car size? Maybe they get that big in this one. And as usual with JF Gonzalez, the characters are solid. The storytelling is solid. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great B-movie kind of book. If B-movies had an A-movie budget, which is one of the great advantages of reading. As much as I like TV and movies, there are never any budget constraints in a book. So that's the first one, Clickers. Giant crabs. Set that over here. I don't even know who the publisher, Hardshell Word Factory. But as I said, available from Deadite Press, I believe. The different cover. I think the covers all kind of match in the Deadite series. Next, Clickers 2, The Next Wave. And JF Gonzalez wrote this with Brian Keene. My copy is from Delirium Books. And it's a paperback. And in this one, where in the first one it was one small town under attack, things kind of go national in Clickers 2. They're invading all over the country coming up. And again, this one, I don't know if they actually say it in the first one, but I think in this one they actually say the even worse thing coming behind the Clickers are the deep ones, which is a Lovecraft thing. Oh, actually on the back of here it says the dark ones. But again, more monster mayhem in this one. As I said, it's on a bigger scale. Some new characters, some old characters, some characters from other works by JF Gonzalez and Brian Keene, kind of bringing their worlds together. You throw in a crazy religious president into the mix of this national emergency, and things are just bigger and crazier than in the first book. And again, it's a lot of fun. Just looking to see if this one said anything about certain Clickers, because the Clickers are evolving, maybe, or at least different ones are coming out of the water, and I think they're getting even bigger. I seem to recall, I think it's this one that has a huge one, like the size of a tank, maybe even bigger, which I love. Crazy giant monsters. So that's Clickers 2, The Next Wave, in a nutshell. Clickers 3, my copy also from Delirium, but this is a hardcover. As a matter of fact, yes, signed limited edition. Also, JF Gonzalez and Brian Keene. This one really gets into the Lovecraft. On the back, well, it's called Dagon Rising, and Dagon is one of the ancient ones, or dark gods, or old ones, or old gods, elder gods. They're called all sorts of different things, but Dagon is one of those guys from Lovecraftian mythos. Wow, a lot of reflection going on there. This one kind of centralizes again a little more after the huge nationwide deal with the second one. This one, our protagonists are on a South Seas island, I believe. South Pacific island, it says. where they're investigating some things, and the clickers show up. And I believe it's been a while since I've read all of these. I'd planned on refreshing my memory before talking about these, but again, under the circumstances, I wanted to do this and get it out there, encourage people to buy some of these. So I don't remember all the details, which is why I'm kind of glossing over a little bit, just giving you a vague idea. I think they're trying to stop Dagon from rising in this, while they're dealing with the clickers and the dark ones and everything else that's going on. But again, more fantastic mayhem. Giant crabs with scorpion tails, and the dark ones, or the deep ones, or whatever you want to call them, coming out. So that's number 3. Excuse me. And then number 4, which, is the only one that I have from Deadite Press. Wow. Highly anticipated by me, and I would guess any fan of the Clickers books or Brian Keene. Because this is just balls to the wall. This is Clickers versus Zombies. And it's pretty much what it says. Once again, the clickers are out in force. This time it's on a worldwide scale, and at the same time there are zombies. And this is a huge clash between JF Gonzalez's writing and Brian Keene's writing, because it ties in with Brian Keene's The Rising and City of the Dead. So there are a lot of characters from different things, but you don't need to know the characters. You don't need to know those other books. You should, because they're all so good. But they're in here, and I'm debating whether I should mention. Well, let me put it this way. Zombies are the dead coming back to life to munch on humans, of course, and clickers can be killed. So if you put 2 and 2 together, you know what's coming in this book, which is fantastic. This one's crazy. It's like I said, it's worldwide. It's got a great cast of characters brought in from all sorts of different stuff. While the zombies are from Brian Keene's The Rising, they're characters from other Brian Keene books, characters from other JF Gonzalez stuff, all mixed up in here. So again, if you read it and you haven't read any of that other stuff, it's fine. But if you have, it's a nice little Easter egg kind of book where you can pick out the things that you recognize. Just fantastic. Giant crabs and zombies. It's a smorgasbord of B-movie madness. So that's the Clickers series, 4 books. Brian Keene has said that he and JF Gonzalez were working on a couple of other Clickers books. I don't know where that stands now, and that's not really important at the moment. But these 4, just fantastic B-movie stuff. JF Gonzalez, very good writer, great characters. He's got a good style. He fit in that leisure stable, I guess. I said I can't remember if I read Clickers first or something else. It was either Clickers or something from Leisure, which would have been Survivor. But Clickers is definitely my favorite. The whole series, and I like that it starts out in that small town, that real B-movie feel of the small town being invaded by these creatures, and then it expands into a much bigger picture nationwide, and then it kind of shrinks down again. Even though the stakes, I think, are higher in the third one, it's still more centrally located on the island, and then it just explodes in the fourth one worldwide, and not just the crabs but the zombies. I mean, this is the kind of thing I would love to see as movies. If it was done right, it could be done low budget. It just has to be well written, I think, and well acted. Sci-Fi Channel shows a lot of creature feature type movies, and I enjoy some. I can't stand some of them. None of them are great. And I think a lot of that has to do with the writing. Because I can get past low budget effects because it's low budget. But the writing, come on. I tend to think you would pay-ish the same for a good script. But these are very cinematic books in their own right. So you don't have to have a movie. I just would love to see one. But I highly recommend these books for any fan of fun horror, creature feature type stuff, zombies, for the last one, of course. Anyone who likes JF Gonzalez's stuff, anyone who likes Brian Keene's stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to grab these again. I love these books so much. Going to show them off one more time. This one's just going to have reflections. Try and show that without the reflections off of it. That one's kind of freaky looking. And then, very plain cover. But all the Deadite books, I think, the covers kind of have that feel to them. So yeah, that's Clickers. Pick them up. Pick up any JF Gonzalez. Help out his family. Just become a fan, like I am, and like I said, support his family, or support his, you know what I'm trying to say. He's an author who's going to be missed, and I just wanted to do a little tribute, and hopefully maybe get some people to become fans of his work. So not just Clickers. Like I said, he's co-written a ton of stuff, or written a ton of his own stuff, obviously. Trying to remember more of the titles. Shapeshifter is one of the Leisure books. I know I'm forgetting something. There's one kind of stuck in here, and I cannot remember the title. Staring over there at my copy of Survivor. I love that book. incredibly hardcore. And I can understand why my friend had to put it down. It's a pretty intense story. But the Clickers, again, I grew up watching creature feature horror. So there's a special place in my heart for something like Clickers. Giant crabs, come on. So that's my kind of weird rambling tribute video review for the Clickers series. I'll have links in the description below for should have them for all 4 Clickers books and some of his other stuff. I believe, yeah, I want to say Deadite has published some of his other stuff, but I'm not really sure. But excuse me, I believe there's more out there. I'll find it and put some links in there, hopefully for Survivor, the Corporation, some of his other things. If you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of creature features, I think you're going to like his stuff, and you'll be helping out his family, and helping out his legacy, I think. If you have any questions, corrections, or comments, please put them in the comments below. Please share this. I want as many people as possible to see this and get the word out. And hopefully, it's a two-way street. I think people are going to get something really entertaining to read, and it also will help out the Gonzalez family. So I think that's it this time around. JF Gonzalez, definitely an author that's going to be missed. So that's it for this low-budget review show. Please pick up some of his books. I think you'll enjoy them. And until next time, read more books.